everyone, this is Miss Smallman, and I am so excited that you are joining us for our 21st Century Paws Virtual Summer Camp. This is week 1, and it's all about summer fun. Today in math, we are going to be learning about geometry. You just listened to the story called Shape Up, and it taught you all about polygons, triangles, quadrilaterals, parallel lines, vertical lines, horizontal lines, so much stuff. And I know it's a lot of information. So now I'm going to go more in depth and make sure you understand what you just read about. And to end this, you will have another story where you will listen to it. And then after you finish, you will go around your house and maybe around your neighborhood. And maybe when you leave your house again in the car, you will try to recognize and see some of these shapes out in your environment. So to begin with, I want to start with our four-sided shapes. And I know in your book that you just listened to, you covered a lot of different shapes. So I wanted to go over some of these shapes and let's talk about them. The first shape I want us to look at is this shape. I know you all know it. This is a square. But when we think about squares, there are some characteristics that squares have that other shapes do not, that make it a square. So when you look at this square, you will notice it has 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. And every side in a square is exactly the same. The other thing I want you to notice about a square is that each of these angles right here, there are 4 of them, just like there are 4 sides, are all equal to 90 degrees. Another four-sided shape I want us to look at is a rectangle. Much like a square, our rectangle has these 4 angles, and they're all equal to 90 degrees. But the difference in a rectangle and a square is rectangles only have this pair right here are the same, and this pair right here are the same. So not all 4 sides are equal. Okay, when we think about our square and our rectangle, let's look at them side by side. Another thing they have in common that I want you to notice, besides their 4 sides and their 4 angles, is that when we look at this, we'll just use the square. When we look at this line here and this line here, we call these lines parallel lines. That means they will never, ever touch. They will keep going and going and going and never run into each other. So both the square here and our rectangle here have 2 pairs of parallel lines. Okay, let's jump into our triangles now. Triangles we can break down into 3 different types. I'm going to show you those 3 different types and tell you the names. You'll remember these from your story, Shape Up. But the first one is right here. You use these lines to show that the sides are the same length. So this side here has 2 sides that are the same and 1 side that is different. This is called an isosceles triangle. If you remember from your story, there is, and this is a funny looking one, and how I remember what this is called is because it kind of has a funny name. This is called a scalene triangle, and no sides are the same. The final kind of triangle we have here is our equilateral triangle. Equilateral triangles, all of the sides are exactly the same, which is why they have this line here. I remember that because in the word equilateral, you see the word equal, meaning the same. Okay, this is probably my favorite thing to teach just because I have a fun way for you to remember what these angles are. So with our triangles, we have different angles. We have an acute angle, a right angle, and an obtuse angle. And I've got a fun way for you to remember if it's acute or obtuse. I'm going to show you an example of all three. This here is an acute angle. This is a right angle, and you will always know it's a right angle because in the corner here you will see the square, which tells you that is right, which is equal to 90 degrees. And this here is our obtuse angle. Okay, I told you I was going to tell you a fun way to remember this, and a teacher taught me this a few years back, and it's always helped everybody remember. So here's our acute angle. Well, how do I remember that? Look at it. It's a small angle. It's a cute little angle, right? So acutes are smaller. Really, they're less than 90 degrees. All right, and here's how I remember this obtuse angle. Obtuse angles are big and fat. Obtuse, like that big circle O. So obtuse angles, big and fat. They're greater than 90 degrees. All right, so we have talked about squares and rectangles. We've talked about the 3 different types of triangles and also our 3 different types of angles. What you're going to do tomorrow, because I know it's a lot of information today, you are going to take your resource bag and find your pretzel sticks, your 2 slices of bread, and your work packets. There are small little pieces of paper, and on that piece of paper, it will tell you exactly what to do with your pretzel sticks and your bread. You will make different shapes, different angles with your pretzel sticks and your bread, and then you will draw the shape that you made on your piece of paper. I would like for you to, when we have our Zoom session on Thursday, if you have any questions about what you made, or you want to show everybody what you created, I would love for you to bring your supplies or your paper to that, and we can take a look together. Okay, now I want you to close out this video when it's finished, and then I want you to open up your second story about shapes in the city and listen to that. And your last activity to do with our geometry lesson today is to go around your house or your yard, or next time you go somewhere in your car, and look for different shapes. Maybe you see a rectangle sign. Maybe you see an octagon. Maybe you see triangles. I want you to look to see what kind of shapes that you can see in your house, your yard, your neighborhood, or anywhere in Statesboro. All right, boys and girls, that is our geometry lesson for today. I cannot wait to see you again very soon. Bye.